Hello YouTube. This is a video about a really cool device. This is probably one of the most advanced Sony portable Walkman players ever to exist. This is the TCD-D7 DAT Walkman. The thing that makes this Walkman different from other Sony cassette players is the fact that this plays DAT tapes rather than your average analog cassette tapes. In comparison, I'll show you the tape before I get into the actual player. So here's your average cassette tape, which is almost as wide and as tall as the DAT player. Not quite, but you know, it looks like it could fit right in the player, to be honest. But here's a DAT tape. This is a digital audio tape. Basically, instead of reading an analog signal and recording onto an analog signal, this reads the tape and turns it into a digital signal. So basically what it does is it allows you to have CD quality sound and up to 2 hours of recording or more depending on the tape on a smaller size cassette that's more portable and very high fidelity. So getting to the player, you see this is still a very modern looking player. This is from the early 90s, and this is actually Sony's first portable DAT player model. So getting into the player, basically you see when it's standing by, you have your time and date readout. And right now it's currently showing the clock, but it will show the date in a certain menu. I think if you push the clock button or something. But when you take it out of standby, you just hit any button, soft touch button, and it goes into on mode. So basically it says no tape. You have your, let me get you close here. You have your battery meter, which states this battery set is about half full. I have 4 rechargeable AA Energizer batteries in it, which is definitely a must when you're using this because it does go through batteries fast if you don't have high performance batteries like that. Alkalines are, you know, you can use them if you want, but might as well just get a rechargeable pair so you can, you know, keep using it, not having to buy batteries all the time. You also have your VU meter, and you have other readouts which I'll demonstrate in a second. You can have record mode, and basically you can plug in a microphone or a line-in signal. You can change your mic sensitivity of the microphone, and you have your input audio level record control attenuator. So you can go from the lowest to the highest, obviously. Or if you don't want to play with that, you can keep the switch in the music selection or the speech selection depending on what you are recording, and it will automatically attenuate the input level to the transient response coming into the player. And then you have your line out or headphones output, and you have a little switch that'll toggle. It has AVLS, which is automatic volume level selection. I think that's what it means. Basically, it moves the audio level down in your headphones so you don't hurt your ears. It's pretty much a limiter. And then you have your digitally controlled soft touch volume buttons. On the back, this is for an accessory I do not have. This is a remote digital input and output port. And basically it allows you to do exactly what it says. Push digital audio in or get digital audio out through a special Sony accessory. So going back to the top of the unit, the coolest part about this Walkman player is the fact that everything is full logic control. All the way down to the stop and start buttons and the record buttons. Basically what that means is instead of a mechanical button that you press, just like on the older Walkmans, you have soft touch buttons that control the microprocessor, which also then controls the servo motors inside the unit and the tape drive. So another cool thing is the fact that even the eject mechanism is full servo control. So when you push the open switch, you can hear it open, and you have your loading mechanism. So taking a closer look inside, you can see instead of the stationary head on a standard cassette player, you have a rotary head similar to a VHS tape mechanism on a VCR. And basically what that allows you to do is record in a helical pattern on the tape, which is sideways instead of linear, and it allows you to get more data onto a tape than a stationary head going straight would usually allow. I'm not going to get too deep into the science of that. That might be another video, but that's basically how DAT works. And obviously the fact that instead of an analog recording signal, this records a digital signal onto the actual tape. So you can see that the inside is very complex. Like I said, a smaller VCR mechanism is the best I can describe it as, and it's very awesome. It's a very highly engineered piece of instrument, and basically the way you load a tape is pretty self-explanatory. You take the tape, it shows you the direction. Unlike a regular cassette tape, you can only play DAT tapes right side up with the window side. So you slide the DAT tape right into the player, and you close, and it will load the tape. So once the tape is loaded, it says top to let you know you're at the beginning of the tape, and you can make your counter via analog. So you can, it'll show you how much of the tape you have played into, or you can reset the counter just like on a regular cassette deck, or you can do A time, which is absolute time. That's another cool thing about DAT, is it'll actually print a time code onto the tape. So no matter whether you put the tape in when it's halfway spooled up, or at the beginning, or near the end, it will always tell you exactly where you are on the tape, and that cannot be done on a regular audio tape like on a regular cassette. And that's due to it being completely digital, which is a really cool feature. And when you want to play, all you do is you hit play, and it will start playing music. Let's see if we can get some audio going here. Okay, so this is the track indicator. That's what program number means. And start ID means that's where the track is divided and started on the tape. You have your peak level meters, like I explained before. You have your pause, and you hit it again to play. You can search through tracks, so just like on a CD player or Discman or whatever, you can, any time during playback, you can hit, oh, I want to go to the next, I want to go to track 3, I'm on track 1, so you press 2 times, it's showing that you're going ahead 2 tracks, and it very quickly goes to the selected track and begins playback from there. So obviously you're not hearing any music because there's no headphones plugged in, and because of copyright, I'm not going to play music on YouTube. So if you want to stop, you hit stop, rewind, it'll go back to the top of the tape. And one switch I forgot to mention is the SP and LP. That's standard play, long play. Standard play is full fidelity, and it'll play the whole 120 minutes of the tape. But if you put it into LP mode and record into that mode, remember you must be recorded in LP mode to play back in LP mode. Otherwise it'll just play standard mode. And basically the tape spins at about half speed, I believe, during playback, and allows you to have twice as much play time on the tape than you would normally allow in standard play, with a slight reduction in audio quality that most people probably won't notice. Going to the back, you can see here's some of the writing on the back of the unit. Made in Japan, how most stuff was back then, very high quality, very high quality classic Sony. This says it's been refurbished. I don't know, that's was on there when I purchased the player, and I assume that means it was probably refurbished at a certified Sony dealership. And you have your battery compartment with a little insert of 4 AA rechargeable batteries. And it's nice because they give you these little pads here, so when you set it down, it doesn't slide around on the surface. So, and then another cool feature is basically the backlit display. I'll turn the lights off for a moment to demonstrate this. You have the light switch here, so when you turn the room dark, the LCD display will backlight, which is nice when you're working, especially in the professional field, using this thing in a dark room, which when you're listening to a live recording or something like that, you'll most likely need that. So going back to the lit environment, we're going to unload the tape. So you switch to open, and the servo mechanism will kick the tape door open, and you can pull the tape out. So that's basically it. And another thing is recording onto these tapes are a little different from cassettes, where on a cassette tape you break the tabs off if you don't want to write on the tape anymore or protect it. But on these, you can at any time switch the write protection on. It's kind of hard to do with my fingernails. Or you can, so that means it's not write protected. You can write on the tape. I have it switched off because I already wrote music on this tape and don't want to record over it. So another cool thing is these tapes are protected from the outside environment via this cover that slides back when you load it into the player. You can push the little pins in. Let's see if we can do it here. And that will reveal the spools. And then you see the tape inside. And like I said, it's almost like a small VHS tape where the top protector flips up when you put it into the player. And then when you're done, it goes back into protection closed mode. So anyway, that is the Sony TCD-D7. There have been a couple other models released after this, which is this TCD-D8. It pretty much looks the same, except the buttons are a little different. It's got gold-plated, metal contacts on the inside of the line in and out. And it's just a revised, updated model, but pretty much the same. And then there's the TCD-D100 series and the PCM M1, which is a later professional model. And it's also a more compact unit, believe it or not, than this is, but also more modern looking and a newer model, and they're usually harder to get, believe it or not. So otherwise, this concludes my review on this awesome little player. If you have any more questions about it or comments, please leave it below, and I'll be happy to answer those for you, and I'll have more videos coming in the future. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.